FlossTube. My name is Shelly, and this is my channel, Proverbs 31:22. Today is Monday, May the 17th, 2021, and I am starting a new week of vlogs. If you're new here, this is a channel about cross-stitch and quilting and some sewing. And I'm glad that you came. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you're returning, hello, my friends. It's another week. Here we go, another week of stitching. So, a couple of things to start out. So, today, last night I had trouble sleeping and, slept from maybe 2 o'clock, no, probably later than that, like 3 o'clock till about 6:15. Got up, was exhausted, of course, had pain in my neck, so I gotta put one of my neck wraps in the microwave and sat down on the sofa to just sort of let that ease the tension in my neck, and just was so sleepy, so I laid down on the sofa and, slept until about 10:40 or so. So I share all of this to say that, like I've shared about, my struggles with my health before on this channel, and I'm going to continue to do that. I just want to say that, the reason why I share about stuff with my health is just to maybe, first of all, to just be as honest as I can about where I am in my journey, and hoping that, if someone else is struggling and going through that, that they know that they're not alone. So I know, well, I don't know. I feel like, when I get on here and I'm not feeling well, y'all are probably sick of hearing me, like, won't she quit complaining? It's not to complain, or it's not to get sympathy. It's just to encourage someone else who's dealing with it. So I am going to do a blog post on, my particular issue is fibromyalgia. So I want to do a blog post on living with that and goals and grace. Because last night I sat down and I planned out my day for today, and it all went to crap because of the way I felt when I woke up this morning. And there's some days where I can just sort of push through it and go on, but there are some days where it's just not going to happen. And I'm learning, like, I don't know, I need to start maybe keeping a journal of my symptoms and stuff, because my husband texted me this morning, his coworker has fibromyalgia, and he was asking Michael, is your wife's flaring up right now? Mine has just been flaring up. And I was like, I don't totally know the signs that it's coming. It sort of will catch me by surprise. And so I guess I need to keep track and sort of know what to look for, so that I can sort of scale stuff back when I'm feeling that coming on. Anyway, for what that's worth. So when I woke up at 10:40, I still had pain in my neck and I had a headache. My daughter and her family had to come over and do something on the computer. They have really terrible internet, and they were needing to do something, and it was giving them problems. So they did come over, and so they were here for a little while. So I'm just within the last hour or so getting in my craft room and getting some stuff done. So a couple of life updates. My older brother, Jerry, he did have his surgery today. I'd shared on one of my recent videos that they'd found a tumor in his bladder. He did have that removed today. The doctor said they were able to get all of it. They weren't definitive until the biopsy comes back, but they do believe that it is cancer. If it's, they got it all though, so that's a good thing. If it's, you know, in his muscle, they'll have to do chemo. If it's not, then, you know, the surgery will be all that he'll need to have done. So just remember him in your prayers. So the other life update is that my grandson Nathan, he had tried out last week for the junior varsity basketball team for Lauderdale County High School. And they posted the results today on the gym door, and they went by there on their way here to use my computer, and he made it. Yay! He came in and he said, I didn't make it, but he had like a little grin on his face, so I knew that he was, you know, trying to fool me. It's like he just couldn't he couldn't hide it well enough to, you know, fake that out. So he is homeschooled, so they are not sure what they'll have to do in order to satisfy, you know, whatever requirements the school has for people to participate in extracurricular activities. So we'll see what happens with that. But he made the team, so excited about that. Excited for him and proud of him. So let's talk a little bit about mental health care. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I am following along with the 614 Stitcher Candy and doing a mania that focuses on mental health care. So the hashtag is Mental Health Care Sal, and you'll see the piece that I'm working on in a little bit if you haven't seen it on any of my previous videos if you're new. Or if you're like me and behind. I stay behind on FlossTube, really. So the quilt on the wall behind me, first of all, let me just talk about that. That is my Project Linus mystery quilt from 2019. And I will be taking it off the wall in probably tomorrow. I had planned to do it today, but plans got derailed. So I will take that off the wall tomorrow and trim it up and start putting the binding on it. Okay, so part of the mental health care Sal that I wanted to do, or what I wanted to make part of what I do as far as bringing attention to it, is just to talk about some of the benefits of cross stitch. And, you know, it applies to handiwork as well. But this one right here will specifically apply to cross stitch, to counter cross stitch. So, and this thing says that it encourages focus and creative flow. So for people who have problems focusing on specific tasks, cross-stitching can be extremely helpful. You know, you might look at someone cross-stitching and think that it's easy. I really haven't had anybody think that it's easy. They look at me and go, oh my God, I could never do that. It does take a lot of focus and concentration to, you know, keep from missing stitches while we're doing our little, you know, repetitive motion of either sewing in hand or sticking and stabbing. So when you're cross-stitching, it's been proven that one is able to increase the sharpness of their mind due to the amount of focus that you have to utilize not to miss a stitch. Cross-stitching has proven that it is a great way to help increase one's focus and mental abilities. So that's one of the things that I've, you know, taken as a positive from my crafting life, like, you know, doing different kinds of quilts, and like challenging myself to do more difficult things, is to keep the mind sharp, to try to stave off, you know, the terrible, different forms of dementia that so many people are experiencing. Whatever we can do to try to keep that at bay, all for it. So, okay, so let's talk about what I stitched on. So I did finish cutting out my, the pieces for my Mai Tai quilt. And this is going to be a baby quilt for one of my older daughter, Kimberly. Her sisters-in-law are both expecting. And so this will be for one of their babies. So I finished cutting those out this afternoon, and then I did finish piecing one block. So paper piecing is not my most favorite thing to do. Like the string blocks that I've been working on, those are easy because you don't really, it's not numbered or anything. But these, you know, these blocks are numbered, and you have to, if you've never paper pieced before, like you have these papers with these numbers on it, and you have to sew in the order of the numbers. So, and you have to sew from the wrong side of the paper. No, you lay your fabrics on the wrong side and you sew from this side where the lines are. So it's always like when I start working on a paper piecing project, it's always a little bit of a stutter start, because I have to get in my head, you know, you got to flip it over and sew the, you know, the other side of it from the front of that paper. But once I get a little rhythm going, if I do them, you know, a lot in a row, then it gets, you know, gets faster. With this one good thing about it is that like 2 and 3 are diagonal across from one another. So I was able to, you know, attach 2, attach 3, and then cut and press, and then do 4 and 5 and cut and press both of those at once. So that's a little bit of a time saver on that. But I think these blocks are going to be so cute for a little baby girl. So cross-stitching wise, what I stitched on yesterday was, first of all, my daily focus piece, which is Elizabeth Weston from Hands Across the Sea. And here is where I am on it. So I was able to finish this whole part inside here. Like I finished filling this in. I did some of the other color greenery, which is a very interesting color. Sort of like an aquamarine. And I have it on several places in the chart. So the greenery right here, right here, right here next to the birds, down here on this tree, and this tree, and then these leaves. So it's just a fun little pop of color. So I'm stitching that on a 36 count hand-dyed linen from Devin over at Strawberry Lane on Etsy. And I'm using the called for DMC flosses, 1 strand over 2 threads. And then my stitch along that I stitched on yesterday was Fat Quarter Shop Serendipity. This is their fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Foundation of South and Central Texas. And I started on this 5th release. So, excuse me, the Red Thimble, Natalia, over on Instagram is stitching this as well. And she shared her picture. She's got all 5 rows done, but she shared her picture like this. I think she actually did it like this, where the flying geese were flying north. And, you know, it should make sense, or, you know, not be so amazing, but it just never occurred to me to, you know, orient it this way. So I don't know which way I'll end up doing it when I finish it, but I think I may do it like that with the geese flying north. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this is stitched on a 14 count navy Aida, using the called for DMC flosses, 2 strands over 1 square of Aida. And I will stitch on that this week until I get that row finished. And let's see, my weekly focus piece this week is Let It Snow, which is a little ornament from a magazine. So let me get this pulled up. I should have pulled this up already. Okay, let's see. Okay, sorry about that. So this is the little snowman ornament, which I'm doing for my younger grandson, Malachi. And this is from the Just CrossStitch December 2020 issue. And I am stitching it on a 14 count white opalescent Aida, using just some DMC flosses, some called for, some my own choices for what I had in my stash. So I got his little face done. How cute is that? I love snowmen. Started on his scarf and then put some of these little single stitches around his body. So I did that yesterday. I did that yesterday while I was outside on my anti-gravity swing, and I did do a little video of my wind chime, so I will include that at the end of this little snippet so that you can just hear how calming it sounds. I love it. So yesterday for my sampler and Stitch Along Sunday, I stitched on Winter Rose Manor, which is by Brenda Gervais. And so I changed the colors of these little flower buds. And so I had to rip the ones that I had in out. And then I was able to get all of them put back in, and then carried the border down around the bottom corner. I also added some more on the house and added this window frame right here. So I got a good bit done yesterday. So this is on a 36 count Zweigart in platinum. And these are the flosses that I'm using. And I have changed, I've changed the pink and then the reds. The rest of the colors are the called for, except for one green that I couldn't get. And this lives in my Love My Stitching bag from Hands On Design, which I love. This is like one of my most favorite things I've ever made. And that's what I've stitched on so far this week. So that's all I got for you, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye. Everybody, today is Tuesday, May the 18th, and I'm here with an update today. So let's start out with some cross-stitch and the mental health benefits of it. This is from handembroidery.com, and this is about 12 ways that embroidery can boost your mental, physical well-being. So I'm just going to read, let's do 2 today. So the first one is alleviate stress. The act of embroidery can release neurotransmitters that promote joy and well-being while also reducing stress hormones. And then it also reduces anxiety. Taking the time to look at and appreciate a pleasing piece of embroidery or any kind of visual art can help to manage and reduce our anxiety, which is something that we all need, I'm pretty sure. So just a quick little note, I wasn't able to insert the little video of the wind chimes. I mean, I was able to insert it, but once I inserted it into iMovie, it was just audio with no picture. I have no idea why, so sorry about that, but okay, so what have I stitched on? Hang on 1 second, let me get my notes. A few little other notes. So, the Stitching Book Club, the next installment of that is Little Women, and that did release this past Friday. So, I will give a link below for her Etsy shop. It's Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts is the one that puts those out. She did have kits available, and this time I was actually able to get a kit, even though I went like the next day to purchase and sign up, or later that day, one of those. So anyway, that's coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. This morning I was watching Yanni Stitcher, her most recent video, and she was showing her most recent finish, which is gorgeous. But she was talking about what she was going to do next. And, you know, she said it'll only, you know, hopefully it'll take me a couple of months. And then she said something like, you know, a cross-stitcher's time is not according to reality. So I think we can all identify with that. It's like, oh, that'll take no time at all to finish. Yeah. Okay, so now what did I stitch on? So I stitched on my magazine monthly challenge piece on the little snowman. I got more of his scarf done. I was hoping to have that all finished yesterday, but it didn't happen. There's a lot of little stitches and a lot of color changes in those little bitty, that little bitty area. But he's coming along, and he will be done before Christmas for sure. He's so cute. Love snowmen. And then let's see. I stitched on my what I made my weekly focus piece this week, which is the Bloom chalk fill jar. Hang on 1 second. And this is what the pattern looks like. I do have a goal of getting this done before the end of this month. So I filled in a good part of the jar. I just have a little bit more of the jar down below this part, which I should be able to probably finish tonight. And then fill in the white right here and do some more of the greenery down at the bottom. And there's one more flower off on this side. So hopefully I can get it done this week. And this is on 14 count chalkboard black Ada, using the called for flosses, 2 strands, except for the jar, which is only 1 strand. And I talked about my mental health SAL piece, mental health care SAL piece yesterday, and then I realized that I didn't stitch on it. So I hadn't stitched on it until last night. So let's see. Get this pulled up. So that's part of the chart. And the other part is on the next page. And it's just a little, the edge of it right here. So last night I was stitching on this and realized that I made a huge mistake. I have no idea how, but you know, it says it's okay to not be okay, so I'm leaving it and going with it. I don't know how I got this so off-centered from the banner, but I did. So I may come down in here and maybe do some other of these little flowers and a vine or something to fill it in. But it was like, I am not ripping out all those letters. No way. So it's going to be okay to not be okay. I thought it was kind of funny that, you know, do you really mean it's okay to not be okay? So this is on 28 count even weave that I hand dyed. And I'm using the gorgeous called for DMC flosses on 2 strands over 2 threads. And then let me tell you what magazine this is from. So this is the World of CrossStitch, May of 2019. I think it may be in several different issues, but that's the one that I'm looking at it in. And then I did work a little bit more on Serendipity, started on this other flower, did finish this one, did the little divider, and then started on this flower. Oops, sorry about you. And then yesterday for my Merry Monday, I worked on Kiori Debatakori. I always say duh, I don't know why. Kiori Debatakori Shabby Advent Calendar. I am working on number 7. And that's what I worked on last night. So I went ahead and started filling in the boot, not the boot, well, I guess it is a boot of this boot of this ice skate. And then I just went ahead and did the outline. And I've told you this before, like when I'm stitching something, I cannot, or when I look at a pattern, like I can't see things. Like people that, you know, take these mystery Quaker pieces and use different colors, I don't know how they do that. You know, when the designer just gives you, you know, one symbol and you do whatever colors you want, I cannot see it. So it wasn't until I just picked this up just now that I was able to see that this is a scalloped edge. I didn't see it when I was stitching on it. Didn't see it when I was looking at the pattern. So my brain just does not work that way, I guess. I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to do like the first Monday of every month. I'm going to start on that, and I'm going to do it every Monday until I finish that one. You know, I have like 7 through 1 left to do, 1 through 7, but I'm working them backwards. So I'm going to, you know, in other words, I want to finish one of those every month. So if it takes, you know, 2 Mondays or 3 Mondays or 4 Mondays, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll work on other Merry Monday type stuff if I finish that before the month is out. I hope that made sense. And here is Miss Elizabeth Weston. And so all I did last night was I went ahead and just outlined this star shape. And then I will fill it in. I'll fill it in tonight. So I think there's there's a little part of a motif right here, and then I'll start on the words, and then that will be page 2 done. So, you know, if I get done with page 2 before the month is up, I'm just going to go on to page 3, and, you know, hopefully I keep bumping y'all. Gosh, sorry. You know, if it takes me less than 30 minutes, 30 months to get it done, that's okay with me. So today, I decided to work on more bags, and it went okay. What I was thinking when I ended my video, or, you know, showed my one on the last time, the one that I sold, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I could not do it how I was thinking I could do it. And it's like, I just feel like the biggest idiot in the world, because I know how to sew, but it's like, you know, I have to watch the videos over and over and over again. Like, I can't just pick up something and figure out how to do it on my own. Maybe that's sort of, you know, connected to how my brain doesn't work, where I can see, you know, things inside patterns until, you know, kind of step back. So I watched another tutorial from Jen Craft. Yeah, Jen Craft, Jenn Craft. And at first, you know, I was like, oh, I could do it that way, you know, and I'm watching her and I'm taking notes while she's doing it. And then I get to the part where she's about to sew the bag, you know, the sides together, and it was like, you can't do it where you know, sew all 3 layers together. So I had to make a decision. Do I want to sew all 3 layers together? You know, the outside, the batting, and the lining? Or am I more worried about having finished seams on the inside? I don't have a serger anymore. I do have a stitch on my sewing machine that will do a sort of overcast, but it didn't work real well when I tried it before. I mean, it did okay, but the stitches didn't come out perfectly. So I thought about maybe trying to do French seams, but I just decided to just do the quilting with the top of the outside and the batting only, and then just have the lining unquilted. So I did get 2 bags done today. And I don't like the way these corners come out. You know, try as I can, I can't get them as crisp as I want to. I think what I'm going to, and I made these again with that soft and stable stuff from By Annie's. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I don't have enough to do another bag. Hallelujah. I won't be using that anymore. I'm going to use batting. But even with batting, it can be a little difficult to get these to pop out. So what I'm going to do from now on is cut my batting like a 1/2 inch smaller. And then that way it won't be in the seam allowances. So Jen Craft uses a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That's a little bit more than what I usually do. So these bags did come out a little narrower, I think, than the last one. I didn't measure the last one. I just saw if I could fit a certain chart in it. So anyway, they're about 10.5. One is 14 and one is 13 3/4 tall. So I did this one with, you know, it had sort of more of these little sort of aqua colored strips in it. So I don't have, you know, a whole lot of matching zippers to use. So, you know, I bought a ton of zippers a while back, and then it's like you get ready to make something and you have everything but the color that you need. So I had one to do, you know, one more pink, and then the rest of them, I just had to pick one that I thought sort of matched. So, I mean, I love these colors together. Zipper might be a little strong for some people, but color-wise, but I think it's pretty. So I did trim on this one. I did not do trim on this one. This one has a lot more quilting on it. I couldn't remember for the life of me how I quilted the one that I made and sold. I have no idea what I did. And then, you know, I did one and then I did the other one, and it's like I still couldn't figure out how to do it best, how to best do it. So they are what they are. I have bought a free motion foot for my machine, so I'm going to try my hand at free motion quilting. We'll see how that goes. But that, that would be a fun thing to do on the front of, these string quilts, string blocks. So it is lined on the inside, completely seams are encased. The backs are just outer fabric and lining. I didn't have enough of that foam to finish both of these bags with it, and I'd already done both of the fronts, quilted them. So I just went ahead and did this the way I did the first one that I made and sold last week. So that's not how I plan to do all of my bags going forward, but that's how I had to do these, just for supply's sake. And then this one is just no trim. I started trying to put the trim on after I attached the zipper, and it didn't go well, so I just took it off and left it off. So these will be up for sale. I will probably list them on my, put them on my Instagram. So if you're watching this video, it'll be, a few days after I list them. So you can always reach out to me by email or instant message, either on Facebook or Instagram. And just let me know if, you want to buy one. Now, the first one I sold for $25 plus $5 shipping. I am going to sell these for $30 plus $50 for shipping, because, there's the added step of quilting it. Now, when I do ones that have 3 layers or a quilted layer on the back side, which I would like to do that instead of just leaving it plain, those will probably be $40, $37 to $40 plus $5 shipping. So, I mean, the person that bought my first bag, she's like, I think you don't need to sell yourself short on what you're charging for them. When you look at other bags for sale, that are not quilted, and they, are $25. So that is extra time. And I don't want to, there's a lot of people out there making bags. So I really want mine to be, not special, different, a little bit of a, there's not a whole lot of people who are doing them like this, without the vinyl front, and it's quilted. They'll have some that'll have the vinyl front bag and they quilt the back panel. And then there's some that, do cloth bags like I'm doing, and they don't quilt them. So I think having the quilting on them makes them stand out a little bit more. I know Christy with CrossStitch Quilts, she quilts hers, the fronts. I haven't bought one of her bags, so I don't know what the backs are like. But anyway, I think it's, I'm going to charge a little bit extra because it's quilted. So, and there don't seem to be any shortage of people out there that are wanting to buy project bags. So I'll see how it goes. But anyway, so that's what I got done last night and today. And then I will see you next time with the next update. Thanks. Bye. Hello, everybody. Today is Thursday, May the 20th, and I'm here to do a little stitching update with you guys. Today is 38 years since I graduated from high school, which is a little unbelievable. Crazy talk. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So today when I got ready to start filming, I noticed that I did have the little flower arrangement that my husband had got me right here. And I noticed that it was looking a little ratty. The roses had dried up, and it just didn't look good anymore. So I took it to the kitchen and got it all out of that one vase, threw all the stuff away that was looking nasty, and I just separated it out and did several little bouquets. So I think they came out really cute. I'm not a flower arranger at all, but it is kind of therapeutic to do it. So I just kept the daisies. They had some daisies with the purple stripes, which I love. They had some plain white daisies, and then some white carnations, and then these little sprigs of, I don't know what they are, but I may leave it on this little tray just to make like a pretty little vignette. Oop. Or I may separate them out, and put them around the house. So we'll see. Okay, so the quilt on the wall behind me, the large quilt, the large center. So that is this quilt, Out to Sea. I got this kit several years ago from Craftsy. I bought a lot of kits from them throughout the years when they offered supplies. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll talk more about Craftsy in a minute because someone asked me a question about it the other day. So anyway, this quilt, I have this center part done, which you see on the wall behind me. And then I have all of the rest of the pieces cut and ready to go in this bin. So this is a quilt that I started in January of 2020, and it was supposed to be for my dad. So I had, goals and things set up, and then, of course, pandemic happened, stress level at work through the roof, and so I guess I didn't have focus enough to just stay on that one thing. I mean, it's not something that I really do a lot well at anyway, right? But anyway, I put it aside, and, I planned to give it to him for Father's Day, and then he passed away in August. So I was a little disappointed in myself that I didn't finish it and, wasn't able to gift it for him, even if he would have only had it for a few months. But anyway, I am going to finish it, and I'm going to gift it to my older brother and his partner, Becky. And so I don't have any plans over the next few days yet of working on it, but I wanted something a little different on the wall behind me, and I do want to start doing some stuff on it. So I took the Project Linus quilt down and trimmed it up. I still haven't gotten the binding on it, but I'm planning to do that tomorrow. So I've also been working on these units for another one of these blocks. I started piecing that today. Yesterday I worked on another one of the pineapple blocks. I actually worked on two of them. I had to throw one away because I had forgotten to trim over almost the whole block, and then tried to trim it, and I ended up trimming a piece off. So I just threw the whole thing in the garbage. So that quilt is supposed to have sashing in the middle of the blocks. I really like them the way they are without the sashing, to give that secondary pattern of the diamonds in the middle. So I'm not sure. I'll see sort of where it falls size-wise, and whether or not I can, I've already cut some of the sashing, so I don't know, like if I could do enough borders on it, to make it where it's a decent size. I'll have to see. So I also worked on some of the those little pieces that I cut off of those logs for the pineapple block blocks. I had little bitty strips left over, and so I've been making some string quilts while I was piecing the this block right here, the units right here. I did some more string blocks, and then I sewed these four together. Is that not the cutest little thing? I'm telling you, these things are addictive. So that's another thing quilting wise I've been working on. I've also been practicing some free motion quilting. Took a class on this years ago, and I hated it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to like it this time, but I do feel like I'm more set up for it. Now I have this machine that has, it's a flatbed on this table. Now this table I bought used, and the little surround on the sewing machine was made for the other owner's machine, and mine didn't fit on it. I could have had the company custom make me one. It would probably be about $125 to $150. So my husband just cut the one that was there. I mean, it doesn't fit perfectly, but it fits good enough, well enough for most of my requirements. However, with the free motion, I feel like it is hampering me a little bit because there are gaps between the surface of the table and the bed of my machine. Still a lot better though that it's all flat, because when I tried to do it before, I was, doing it on a, machine on a table, which is like, you have this much room to try to maneuver the quilt and everything. So anyway, I've been watching some Craftsy classes, and one of them, they talked about a Teflon mat that you put down. It has a little hole cut out for your needle, and you put it down on the bed of your machine, and it helps it to move more easily. So anyway, I've been practicing. Now, this is not a design. It's not meant to be a design. It's just me doodling and trying to get the flow of getting, tension and stitch size, and it's a work in progress for sure, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it or not, but I'm going to keep trying until I feel like, there's no way that I'm going to improve. I think having that Teflon mat will help. I also want to get some of those little sticky gloves. The Sew Sampler box had some little sticky fingers that came in one of them, and I think I must have given it away to someone who would use them, because at that point it was like, I'm never going to do, free motion quilting. Never say never, right? So I've been working on that. I did get my Project Linus quilt trimmed. I don't have the binding on it yet, but I have that trimmed. What else quilting wise? I think that's it. Been working on hand quilting my daughter's quilt. So let me talk about Craftsy first. So someone asked me the other day, she said she was getting, bombarded with emails, wanting her to join the premium membership. So she asked me if it was worth it. Honestly, I don't think it is at this point in time. And, Craftsy is kind of going through this back and forth. Like, it was Craftsy and it was great. And then it changed to Blueprint, which, was a subsidiary of NBC Universal. And it was still okay, but the app got real clunky and it just wasn't that great. And then now they said, I think last year, that Blueprint was closing. Hello. And then they decided they found someone else to buy it, and it went back to Craftsy again. They don't have an app. You can go online, of course, and, look at classes that way. You can stream it on your Roku TV currently, but there's not a real easy way to, like, I'm watching these classes on free motion quilting, and then I go back to, the next day I go back to watch it again, and I've got to go find it again. Like, there's no place for me to keep my favorites, or there's no place when I'm streaming on my TV where I can access the classes that I own, that I bought, or that were, when it was Blueprint, they would give you like 4 credits or something to, get forever classes with the premium membership. So currently I am a premium member, but that's only because over the weekend, last weekend, they sent me a email saying, you could join premium for $2 and something cents for the whole year. Hello. Okay, I'll do it. Just mainly because I wanted to be able to get content on my smart TV, which is above my sewing machine. So I've been looking at those and doing those, free motion classes on there, and I think I'm going to hold off until I get that Teflon mat though. Okay, that was a lot of intro and quilting stuff. So cross stitch wise, the last couple of days I've stitched a little bit more on Let It Snow. So I believe I maybe got one little bitty piece right there in the middle of his scarf. Of course, I still have to do the tails of his scarf, but anyway, I got a little bit more done on him, and I've only stitched on him one more day. And then my daily focus piece, Elizabeth Weston, I actually only stitched on her one day as well. Last night after supper, I just wasn't feeling good, so I went to bed early. But night before last, I did get this section right here done. So and then for Timely Tuesday as well as Wordy Wednesday, I worked on this little Spring Messenger pin keep from Scattered Seed Samplers, and this is part of their Little Messenger Handwork series. It's a club. You can find it on Etsy, and I will link it below. The next one I think is coming out. It releases at the end of this month, and then it will be shipped at the beginning of June. So I really felt like I wanted to get some good days of stitching on this. So I did stitch on it twice, and I probably will stitch on it. I'll stitch on it tomorrow for Flora Fawn on Filigree Friday, and then maybe Saturday for Seasonal Saturday. I'll stitch on this as well as my bloom jar. But anyway, I got all of these leaves put in, the little berries, started filling in the leaves, did this little heart, and then I started working on the little border that goes around the whole thing. I love stitching on it. I think it's so cute. It's not my normal, my normal thing to stitch, but I love it. And then I did stitch a little bit more on my mental health care sow piece. So I've got the bee completely finished. I've got it's up here. So I've got the leaf right here. There's more leaf motifs and back stitching up here. And then I'm probably going to trail the vine and make it look like it's going underneath here and come down here and do another probably 2 or 3 flowers down here to fill it in where it looks sort of centered. I still think it's so funny that I did that on the piece that says it's okay to not be okay. And then I did stitch some more on my bloom jar. So I had a goal yesterday of getting all the flowers put in. And so I got those put in completely. I think today I'll do the centers and I'll finish this jar wording. I believe that's what I have on for today. And then I just have to do the greenery. There's some more greenery down here at the bottom. Just a little bit right there. And then I will be done. So I'm stitching on Serendipity, the Fat Quarter Shop's fundraiser, and it is slow going. I really want it to have been finished with this at least by today, but it's not going to happen. Like, I'll be able to probably finish this flower tonight and then do the little doodad, and then I'll have to do this one on Friday and maybe onto Saturday. It's just a lot of, I don't know, it's a lot of stitching. Now, if I was stitching on only this, I could be able to, get it done, but that's not how I roll. I think that's all I've got. Nothing really happening with us special. That's it. I will see y'all the next time I update. Thanks. Bye. Oh, I wanted to mention I've gotten several new subscribers lately, and so a little over 250. So on next video, I will do a giveaway, and I'll either announce that I'm doing it at the beginning of the video, or I'll just go ahead and do the, announce what you have to do and what you can win at the beginning. I didn't want to do it on this week's video because I haven't, if someone doesn't watch until this point, then they won't know about it. So we'll talk about that next week. Thanks. Everybody, today is Saturday, May the 22nd, and I'm here to do an update, and this will be a closeout on this week. I think I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from now on for filming. So first things first, let's talk about a couple of things related to cross-stitch and handwork and our mental health. And these are some more from handembroidery.com. This says, embroidery can help us engage in mindfulness, keeping us in the present moment and silencing the parts of our brain that are implicated in generating negative emotions. And then art as therapy. Explore yourself through the artistic practice and safely explore the emotions, memories, and ideas that your work provokes. So I thought those were some neat little tidbits. We think we're just stitching, but it's more than that. It can definitely be more than that. So speaking of stitching being more than just stitching, they have started, let's see, Mistress Page over on Instagram has started a hashtag for Brenda of Brenda and the Serial Starter here on YouTube. She's Brenda Sampler Stitcher over on Instagram, and she is going through a health situation right now, and so Mistress Page has started the hashtag for the love of Brenda Sal, and you basically stitch on what you love, because that's Brenda's philosophy about stitching. Stitch what you love and stitch what makes you happy. If you're not loving it and stitching on it and it's not making you happy, ditch it and go on to something that is making you happy. Not to say that won't ever make you happy in the future, but, don't force yourself to keep stitching on something if it's not bringing you joy. So anyway, Mistress Page has started this hashtag as a way for all of us in this community to send Brenda some love and some positive healing thoughts and prayers. So I'm definitely joining in on that. I stitched a little bit last night on Spring Messenger and took a picture and hashtagged it for her, just, so she knows everybody's pulling for her and thinking of her. I did want to say a huge thank you to Denise at Black Ribbon Stitch Studio here on YouTube. She shouted me out on her most recent video. She tagged me on Instagram to let me know that she tagged everyone that she mentioned in her video. And so I, went and watched it. I love watching her regardless, if you speak about me or not. Denise, I love watching you. She's a fellow pink lover, so we have that in common, and like flowers and stuff like that. So anyway, she shouted me out, and I got a little teary-eyed. So thank you so much, Denise. When my husband got home, I made him listen to it, and he got a little teary-eyed too. And you're always one of those floss tubers that when he passes through the room and I'm watching you, he always comments about, she seems like she's really nice, that sort of thing. So thank you. Love you. I'm sending you lots of love and thanks for that. So she did that as part of the under 1,000 subs club. Just, some of the floss tubers who are, more than 1,000 subscribers, trying to bring attention to those of us who are below 1,000. There are certain perks and things that open up for you on YouTube when you reach 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all the love that way. So, okay, so what did I stitch on the last 2 days? I did a little bit more on this little cute little snowman. Look at him. So I got his scarf pretty much done, I believe, and then I started on his body. So he's coming along. I've put him away now, though, because I'm going to start something else for magazine monthly challenge. And then I did stitch a little bit more on Serendipity on Thursday, but I did not stitch on this at all last night because I'm not really loving it right now. So I wanted to stitch on what I love. And I wanted to finish a few things. I've got 2 FOs I'm going to show. So I got a little bit more done on this motif right here. And then just stopped. I love the pattern. I don't know. I don't really like stitching on it. And I mean, minuscule amount on Elizabeth Weston. So I just got this part of this little motif right here stitched. And that was on Thursday. I didn't stitch on her last night either. Not that I don't love her, but I wanted to get those 2 things finished, so that took up time. And then on Thursday for Thankful Thursday, which is my fall theme, I stitched on this little piece from, let's see. Let me see if I can find the magazine. It's CrossStitcher September 2020 magazine. And I can show you just a small snippet of the picture. I actually don't have the whole picture of the whole thing in my little PDF markup. But it's basically a series of band samplers, and this is the autumn one. So I'm working on this little band right here that just reminds me of quilt blocks. So, and I'm doing this on 18 count. I don't know if it's Rustico or Oatmeal Ada. Using 1 strand of floss over 1 thread of Ada. That project's really slow going. For some reason, like on Thursdays, I hardly ever stitch on my weekly, my daily rotation piece on Thursdays. I really don't know why, but that's usually when it's on my list, so it gets ignored a lot of the time. So I did stitch on last night, got a good bit done on this little Spring Messenger pin keep. So I got more of the little outline done and then started on the letters. And I don't know if I said, this is 36 count Vintage Country Mocha. And it's 1 strand of DMC over 2 threads. Okay, so my two finishes. I finished a little It's Okay to Be Okay. I'm not real crazy about the way my leaves and stuff came out, but, um, and I don't know if it's good. It's okay. I'm gonna, finish it up. I might do it like in um, a little pillow finish, and then just call it done. And I'm gonna be okay with it not being okay. The colors on this project, y'all, are just beautiful. And then I also finished my bloom jar. Finished this last night. So yay! I don't know. I don't think I have any pieces like the way that Priscilla Blaine has finished these. She does them on like a little metal easel where you can change it out for the seasons. I don't really have anything like that to put them on, so I'm going to have to look for something to finish this off on. And I would like to do the small as well. Okay, so that's my two finishes and my whips. I did go into town yesterday, and I went to Joann to get some flosses for a couple of projects that I need to kit up, and I also wanted to get these little quilting gloves, the little grip gloves, so I got a pair of those. And they were having a little a sale, buy one get two free on these different brands, but these red, white, and bold were included in it. So I picked up these two ribbons. I thought this one was really unique. And then these little picks. And when I started unpacking the stuff this morning, the girl that checked me out, she stuck all of my floss in there with these, so it was like all tangled up in it. It was like, manager, you need to tell your employees when someone buys floss to put it in a little bag by itself. So I also got in yesterday my kit for Little Women. And I did go with the even weave. And these are the flosses. Some of these that she carded, she said, you hardly used any floss, so she just cut lengths, making sure that she left us with plenty, to complete the design, but that'll stretch her supplies a little bit further. And then the ones that use more, she put the whole skeins. So I can't wait for this to start. When does it start? I think it starts sometime in June. So I needed to get floss to kit up let's see, this pattern by the Blue Flower. This is my next magazine monthly challenge piece that I will work on. So cute. So these are, this is going to be a series from the Blue Flower Seasons of the Heart. This is the spring, and this is in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, 2021 spring issue. That's really the only reason why I subscribed to this magazine, is because I wanted to do these. I don't know what the rest of them are going to look like, but I thought this one was so cute. So I had some of the flosses, and then some of them I didn't. So I went to Joann and picked up those. And then this morning I took some time to dye some fabric. So let me pull this off so I have a board. I thought I made plenty of these boards to go around all my projects, and here I am running out of them. So I decided to, let's see, the model, the model was stitched on 40 count cypress from Fiber on a Whim. And so I had bought a yard of 36 count Edinburgh from 123 Stitch. And so I cut a piece this morning and dyed it with pearl gray. Usually I leave my things in for about 15 minutes. And I watched a video the other day, and the girl, my husband's cutting grass. If you can hear that, that's what that noise is. I'll let him pass. I watched a video the other day of someone doing a dyeing video, and she leaves her stuff for 20 minutes. So I left this for 20 minutes, and I really think I left it a little bit too long. But I think it'll be okay. Like, what I'm really worried about is this gray that makes the heart. It'll be all right. So I dyed that for that piece. And then I'm also needing to kit up Flea Market Flowers, which starts the beginning of June with Fat Quarter Shop. So I actually bought a piece of 16 count fiddler's cloth from Joann yesterday, thinking that I would use that for it, but then I really don't want this to be too huge. So while I was dyeing that other piece of 36 count, I was like, let me just dye a piece of that as well. So let me show you the fabric, then I'll talk to you about my plans for the colors and stuff. So I wanted just a very subtle fabric. But I wanted something besides just plain. So I did tan, and I always, mix it up in a jar, and then I spoon it on a paper plate to see what the color looks like. And I liked it, but it was like, I want something a little bit more. And so I have a bottle of rose quartz. And so and we're talking minuscule amounts. I mixed a little bit of that in there, and I like that color, and so that's what this is. Just very subtle modeling. So I love the colors on this a lot, but I do think it needs some purple. So I'm not sure if I'm going to change all of the blues, but I may change this right here, and maybe some of the other, maybe this one up here. So, and then I was starting to pull floss this morning, and I was looking at the pattern, and I was like, you know what, this would be really pretty in overdyes. So I haven't chosen colors yet, but these are all of my overdyes. So I'm pretty sure that I can find, appropriate colors to make this piece in. I have plenty of pinks, I have blues. Look at this one by hand dyed by Rolanda. How gorgeous. That would be really pretty on one of the blues. That's why I don't want to get rid of all of the blues, because I like the blues, but I wanted to have some purple. No brainer for me, right? So I may have to I should have enough browns. I don't have a whole lot of browns. That may be the only thing that I end up using the DMC for. But, this fabric, the selection of these threads, I can't wait. So basically I finished 2 things yesterday, and then I added 2 things this morning. My whip pile is not declining. It just keeps getting added to. So I do have my plans worked out for the June magazine monthly challenge piece. I sort of thought about skipping June, and then no, I want to do it. So it's a simple acrostic, but I do have two things that I will be starting in that, and then the rest I'll be working on things that I've already started. That's it. That's all I've got. So our grandsons are about to come over today to spend the night. So that's why I wanted to sort of do this early, and I'm not going to do one tomorrow. I really don't want to film on Sundays. And so it'll kind of give me a little bit of a break. Like I can upload it today, start uploading it today. It won't finish uploading till tomorrow. So tomorrow I can work on getting all the description box, completely typed out. Even though I type it as I'm going, I go back and I look and, do any things that I haven't covered earlier in the week. So, yeah, that'll give me Sunday to get it uploaded, and, Monday to just sort of have a day where I get some, you'll be able to see more progress is what I'm trying to say if I don't film every day. So, but I still want to do the blog style because I do like doing it, as I'm stitching. So I'm all over the place, y'all know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good week coming ahead, and stay safe, stay well, get a lot of stitching, I hope, and do think about joining in on that hashtag for Brenda. And even if you're not in on the hashtag, just send her positive vibes. So I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.